This is what the best wildcat oil play in North America looks like. Here, a kilometer beneath the surface, rests the undiscovered potential for millions of barrels of oil. Saturn Minerals is hunting for them, in search of the next great discovery story. The company has done it before with coal. Now the focus is oil. And what's been found thus far could be the seeds of something huge. Welcome to the best wildcat play in North America. Saturn's project area is a part of the biggest oil and gas story of the decade, namely the Williston Basin. A collection of overlapping rock formations, the Williston is shared by Canada and the United States, and it has been ground zero for a renaissance in North American energy. Comparable in size to Germany, the basin has long been known to contain oil and gas. However, historical oil production remained low, in the range of 20,000 barrels a day. This was due in part to technology and a low oil price, but mostly a lack of exploration. In 2008, new exploration in response to rising oil prices resulted in production rising, and in 2009, the Williston passed 100,000 barrels a day for the first time. But what happened next, very few people anticipated. Continued exploration and new methods of drilling unlocked the basin in spectacular fashion. New discoveries lifted Williston production to over 900,000 barrels a day, making it the #1 oil story of the last decade, while creating billions of dollars of value for investors. Thus far, exploration has focused on a handful of specific areas. Bentek Energy, the world's leading oil field analytics company, has estimated that only 15% of the Williston has been adequately explored. From an economic standpoint, with current production nearing the million barrel a day mark, industry and government are projecting the basin to eventually produce over 2 million barrels a day. Meaning, of course, an onshore, politically safe, potential million barrel a day opportunity still to be discovered. This is a wildcatter's paradise, and there's nowhere else in the world as attractive to knowledgeable operators such as Saturn. An opportunity of this size needs a strategy. Proper wildcat drilling is equal parts science, cold business sense, and simply knowing how and where to look. Let's examine the way Saturn is doing all three. We've seen how the Williston looks on a map, but let's look at it the way a true wildcatter does. To do that, we need to turn it on its side. The basin consists of overlapping rock formations of various ages. The youngest rocks are at the top, the oldest are at the bottom. Only the oldest and deepest rocks host deposits of natural gas and oil, making these the target of exploration drilling. At the center of the basin, the rocks are thickest. A drill hole here targeting every oil and gas layer needs to be nearly 5 kilometers long. Towards the edge of the basin, a drill hole need only be slightly over 1,000 meters to test the same targets. This geological reality has a dramatic effect on the economics of wildcat drilling. Mobilizing a rig to a drill site costs roughly $100,000. Once drilling begins, most costs are tied to a per meter price, meaning the deeper you go, the higher the cost. In the deeper basin, a single well may cost well over $1 million or even $2 million before it even reaches oil and gas bearing rock. Additionally, the deeper the well, the higher the chance drilling encounters a technical problem that forces the well to be abandoned. If every single oil and gas layer is tested and there are no technical problems, a single exploration well can easily cost several million dollars. Now let's compare the same process but in the shallow basin. Drilling encounters the same geology and risks as in the deeper basin, but at a significantly lower cost. A shallow basin well explores all oil and gas layers for a fraction of the price of a deeper basin well. This is what's called your dry hole cost, the minimum price to drill an oil target. What a low dry hole cost means to a wildcatter is several opportunities to drill a promising area and discover new pools of oil. At 750 kilometers wide, the Williston has more than enough shallow basin real estate for Saturn to explore. In fact, it's more than enough for a group of companies, some of them the largest in the world. Saturn is by far the largest landowner in the Northern Williston, with over 370,000 acres of oil and gas rights. Other juniors include CanShale and Questair. Larger companies, including majors, have also arrived, these being Tourmaline, Cenovus, and Husky. The Northern Basin, like the entire Williston, is being methodically leased up. It's a story seen again and again in the history of oil and gas exploration. That is, if you explore where the oil is supposed to be, don't be surprised when you find it. This is the wildcat spirit that turns drill derricks into pump jacks and investors into retirees. There is no place on earth like the Williston. There is so much opportunity that wildcatters crave. Saturn has over 15,000 line kilometers of geophysical data, and we've barely scratched the surface. Still, our data is being interpreted and applied into exploration models that are proving to be sound, analogous to known oil pools, and to a wildcatter, very exciting. For specifics on projects, drill campaigns, and economic models, Saturn's website is the authoritative source. But for why, as a company, we do this, you'll have to go out into the field. There on the drill pad, you'll find the oil man, and with him, the reason why we do this. Not only is it part of a century-long Canadian tradition of risk and reward, it's about going somewhere no one else has been and finding something everyone wants. It's thinking big, having the gumption to want it, and the discipline to go and get it. It's combining geoscience and business sense, not to make money, but to make fortunes. That is the spirit of the wildcatter. The Williston Basin is the biggest story in oil and gas of this century. It took nearly everyone by surprise. That is the signature of discovery. Surprise. The wildcatter and his investors know what goes into making a surprise. The Williston is a big basin. There's more than a few surprises left.